Is this the best pro-choice argument you've ever heard? This doula gives her 2 cents saying that we should end all laws that limit access to end a pregnancy, i.e. the life inside the womb. Check out this clip. Did she go too far, or do you agree?
The problem with pro-lifers is that they do not understand how complicated obstetrics is. A lot of people think that they have reasonable pro-life views because they only want legislation surrounding later term abortions, and they will make exceptions for things like life of the mother. But making an exception for danger to the mother is not enough, because you don't understand how complicated that decision is. What is in danger enough? How close to death does this person have to be? Do we need to wait until they're septic? The reason that people say it needs to be between a patient and their doctor is not just because it should be a patient's choice, which it should be, but it's not just that. It's that even one OB or even 100 OBs could not come up with hard rules of this is when it's appropriate and this is when it's not, because every single case is different and every single case is infinitely more complicated than anyone doing the legislating can imagine. These lines are much, much harder to draw and much, much blurrier than pro-lifers realize that they are. And no matter where you draw a line, if you draw a hard line, you're going to end up hurting people. The only person who is qualified to know whether an abortion should happen or not is a doctor that has worked with that specific patient, understands their pregnancy, and is an expert on that topic, not anyone who can sign a piece of legislation.
We've officially gone off the deep end. Let's break down her claims and expose how misguided they are. First, she asserts that people who oppose abortion fail to understand the complexities of obstetrics. This is simply untrue. Many physicians, nurses, and experts with decades of experience in obstetrics hold the position she criticizes. They're deeply familiar with life-threatening complications like ectopic pregnancies or severe preeclampsia, which are exceedingly rare and already well addressed under existing medical guidelines that prioritize saving the mother's life. The idea that those concerned with protecting life don't grasp these realities is a baseless assumption. She also claims that making exceptions for the life of the mother isn't enough because it's hard to define what constitutes danger. In reality, medical standards already exist for assessing maternal risk. Doctors use these standards daily to make decisions without the chaos she describes. Suggesting that legislators or advocates can't define when an intervention is necessary ignores the fact that we regularly legislate on complex issues using expert input. We do it in criminal law, healthcare, environmental policy, you name it. There's nothing exceptional about crafting rules based on medical consensus to protect both the mother and the unborn. Next, the claim that medical decisions should be exclusively between a patient and a doctor ignores an essential point. No one, not even doctors, has the moral or ethical right to end an innocent life. The unborn child, as science confirms, is a distinct human being from conception. To argue that it's permissible to end this life because each case is too complicated for clear guidelines is not only morally indefensible, but also deeply flawed logically. Doctors are experts in medicine, but they are not the ultimate arbiters of life and death. Finally, the most shocking part of our argument is the notion that someone like a doula, her herself, whose role is to support both mother and child, would argue for the killing of an innocent human being. It's bizarre to argue that taking another human life is ever acceptable, especially the life of the most vulnerable, who have no voice to defend themselves. The ones losing their lives inside of the womb today are the orphans, they are the fatherless of our day. We don't allow this reasoning for any other group of people or human beings, and the unborn should be no exception. Every single one of our arguments falls apart under scrutiny. Protecting life is not only a moral obligation, but also legal and scientific necessity. The complexity of medical cases doesn't justify taking innocent life. Instead, it requires carefully constructed laws that balance the needs of the mother and the unborn, both of whom deserve protection. Like I said, I'm eager to know your thoughts. And a huge shout out to Live Action for their rendering of A Life Inside the Womb. They're another excellent organization you can support.
But hey, it's been an absolute pleasure watching this with you. Before you go, check out our web app in the link. I use it every single day. It's called Shepherd AI at shepherdai.org. Whether you're in a place where growing spiritually is your goal, or wanting to build deeper relationships, or even just grow your finances through biblical wisdom, you can do all of that on our platform from a completely biblical perspective. And your subscription allows us to take the gospel and messages like this further out here in the burnt down state of California. Give it a try, subscribe to make this channel go viral, and may the Lord richly bless and prosper.